Marvel Studios just released Spider-Man Brand New Day, and like most Marvel, or superhero fans in general to be honest, I love Spider-Man. So in celebration of this being the first ever Spider-Man 4, I wanted to do something a little bit special for my videos this month. So please let me introduce you to the Sinister Six. Each video this month will introduce one member of the Six to Marvel Rivals, teasing the next via a team-up loadout. And since you've both read the title and seen the thumbnail to this video, you know that the first member is Scorpion. McDonald Mac Gargan was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 19, 1964. Hired by J. Jonah Jameson, Gargan was a private investigator who wasn't transformed into the Scorpion until the very next issue, number 20. After being experimented on by Dr. Farley Stillwell, Gargan bonded to Scorpion DNA, which resulted in the loss of both Gargan's sanity and Jameson's money. Although a prominent enemy to Spider-Man in modern times, Scorpion's original danger was a lot lower, often being defeated by accident, or even by himself on occasion. But ever since he reluctantly bonded to the Venom symbiote, Gargan has become a serious threat, along with having 1 million different aliases, names, and Scorpion suit upgrades. Although not a super consistent member of the Six in the comics, Scorpion has been a very popular one in adapted media, debuting as a part of the team in its iterations in the 90s animated series and more recently in Spider-Man for PS4. But from Venom to Virus to Spider-Man and back again, Gargan is still known best as the toxic-tipped Scorpion. I have two primary goals for designing the Sinister Six. 1. I want to build a capable 2-2-2 lineup. Then, I want each of these characters to have at least one method to deal with Spider-Man. Not enough that they can each individually counter him, but when there are quite literally 6 of you on a team, he takes a lot more effort to get value on. Scorpion is often portrayed as a large and imposing figure. He wields both superhuman durability and strength. In tandem with the many different capabilities of his electromechanical tail, such as poisonous barbs or electrical blasts, he would be a great addition to the Vanguard role. In terms of his base stats, well, I did just say that he's superhuman. Basically everyone else in this game is as well. So we're going to give him the standard 6 meters a second movement speed, and the pretty standard tank health of about 650. Scorpion's primary attack is the pincer strike. Although Gargan normally prefers to attack with his tail, his suit does have pincer-like blades on both gloves that allow him to rip through his enemies. Dealing the usual tank damage of about 40 a hit, Scorpion is a bit more punishing to flying enemies that get too close, dealing about 10 extra damage a hit. The electromechanical stinger attached to Scorpion's tail has had a myriad of powers and features over the years, but its most consistent ability since its first ever upgrade is the ability to emit blasts of acid. In a rapid group of stabs, Scorpion will poison the enemy, reducing any and all damage they deal for a specific duration, providing team-wide survivability with a pretty unique status effect. Although rushing through the streets of New York is more of Rhino's gimmick, Gargan is no stranger to a hazardous rampage. Rush forward and recklessly swing Scorpion's tail to knock back enemies before potentially following up with a wide sweeping attack that hits multiple foes. This follow-up mechanic is currently only present on Elsa Bloodstone and Gambit with Ruthless Pursuit and Big Easy Impact respectively, but I think it makes a lot of sense here for Scorpion if he's going to, wildly swing his tail around once he's run past you. Many different versions of the Scorpion suit enable more projectile-like attacks, so in a fun way to incorporate all these different iterations of the tail would be letting Gargan upgrade the tail himself. Parabuthus Enhancement transforms the electromechanical stinger into a projectile attack that deals damage in an area surrounding it and will also poison any enemy it hits, reducing their outgoing damage. As pretty much Scorpion's only ranged option in this kit, you don't want to use this ability willy-nilly and make sure that you're actually getting value when you press this button, and not wasting your opportunity to catch an enemy who's running away. My favorite adaptation of Scorpion's powers was the more hallucinogenic abilities he had in the 2018 video game, but since that's Mysterio's line of work, I wanted to make Venal Venom a bit more of a defensive tool, like Venom's symbiotic resilience, but with a bit of a twist. This toxin grants a target both unstoppable and a lingering damage reduction. Combined with the potential poison effect that Scorpion has already applied, some enemies won't be dealing any damage to this target at all. Combined with that unstoppable status, this is quite a powerful ability, so it is on quite a long cooldown of about 20 seconds. Wall Scale. Much like actual Scorpions and Spider-Man, Gargan is capable of adhering to different surfaces. However, he apparently enjoys punching holes to make footholds a bit more. Since this technique is a bit more destructive, I think limiting it to only vertical walls seems fair. This is in line with Penny Parker's passive that allows her to climb up strictly vertical walls but not horizontal ones. As a mobility option, you don't really need it to be much more, and it's kinda just nice to have. Scorpion's other passive is Infectious Protection. I wanted to increase his overall survivability as he is a tank without any sort of shield and only mild defensive options, so I wanted to reward the player for managing to afflict their enemies with poison. Each time he does, he's provided a small amount of bonus health and a slight cooldown reduction on Venal Venom, his other defensive tool. In the comics, Mac Gargan was only Venom for about 5 years. But those 5 years were very important for a lot of Spidey's rogues gallery, Scorpion obviously included. This team up with Venom empowers Scorpion's poison to also apply vulnerability, and when enhanced, deal a small amount of damage over time and constantly reveal their location to all of Scorpion's allies. Converting Parabath's enhancement into this symbiotic enhancement, I wanted to focus more on what possibly he could do if he was with the symbiote in this iteration. So this is what I came up with. Let me know what you think. Scorpion's next team-up is the next member of the Sinister Six. Although a lot of Spider-Man villains are animal-based, most are so in name only, but both Scorpion and the Lizard have true genetic maladaptations. So for them, poison is the best medicine. Replacing the toxin from Scorpion's Venal Venom with Heloderma gas, this team-up allows Scorpion to grant the target healing over time, and while enhanced, doubling its duration and doubling the healing over time received. Scorpion's ultimate ability is Reinforced Hypertoxin. In order to stay on theme with these constant upgrades and changes to the suits and to the tails, Scorpion's ultimate ability adds even more effects to his poison. Functioning pretty similarly to Black Widow's old ultimate ability, this will launch a blast of poison that, in addition to its normal effects, will also increasingly slow enemies and deal amplifying damage. As time passes, so does the effectiveness of this blast, putting enemies out of the way and making sure that your team can dominate a specific zone if they risk too much. In terms of potential skins and costumes they could do for Scorpion, there are a lot of options. The character's been around for 62 years. The only thing that is a true demand is that at some point he needs a legendary Venom skin, and if not that, maybe even a legendary skin from Across the Spider-Verse. It's a very different look, but definitely a good one. The art that you've been looking at for this entire video was drawn by Keagan McTamney. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly, this is a new name for me, but they do go by McTamnated online, and you should definitely check them out. I'll link their Instagram in the description below. In the end, I do really like this concept that I made for Scorpion. I think poison is a pretty unique mechanic and an interesting twist on the normal damage reduction that you would expect from a tank, making someone deal less damage rather than having your allies take less damage. An overall flavor win. I also must say I think he slots really nicely into this Sinister Six lineup that I've made. As a reminder, it is 2-2-2. I know some of you are unhappy whenever I make a duelist concept, but that is just how the game works. Unfortunately, they do have to release duelists at some point. I think he fits really nicely and synergizes pretty well with them, and the team up with the Lizard definitely helps. If you're interested in seeing the rest of the Sinister Six, you'll have to stick around to watch. Maybe even consider subscribing, and letting me know what you thought about this concept in the comments below. But if you want to support me even beyond just subscribing or watching these videos, consider becoming a YouTube member. You join this great group of Marvel allies and get all these cool benefits that I'm showing on the screen, and a part of these really nice shoutouts at the end of the video. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next week with more Sinister Six.